So if you're just joining, I would grab a block and maybe a blanket for your mat. We'll be on our back and on our belly like we typically are. If you want to have a glass of water or tea or some essential oil, anything that's going to enhance your experience, you can go ahead and grab those items now. And then while you're doing that, the rest of us will sit here, and we'll just sit here for a few moments just to ground. So sitting on something if you'd like, and we'll sit up nice and tall. So sitting up nice and tall. And then you can bring your gaze down if you'd like. So bringing the gaze down. And that's just going to lengthen the back of the neck. Maybe imagine you're holding like an orange or something underneath your throat between the chin and the collarbone, and just lengthening the back of the neck. And then let the lower body get really heavy here. Let the pelvis root, and from that root, allow your spine to grow nice and tall. And just begin to notice the breath. And as you notice, like typically happens, often there's a very organic inhale, so just allowing that to happen. And just allowing the breath to move in a way that is natural and authentic without giving it too much guidance, at least to start. Just allowing it to be. And then as you exhale, inviting softness wherever your body might need it. Softening the muscles in the face. That's usually a great place to focus. If you're not sure where, the shoulders are another great part of the body to soften. And then any other part of the body that could benefit. And then continuing to soften, gazes down. I'm going to come off my mat for a moment. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera. I think I can make it a little bit closer. Yeah. You guys can see me a little bit better. And we'll bring the arms out to the sides, starting with the palms down, soft elbows, soft shoulders on the inhale. Pull up like you're pulling up earth energy from below. Turn your palms up and gathering all of that energy we've collected. And then lower your hands down. Lowering the hands down like you're giving yourself a chi shower. And we're grounding the front side of the body. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. Gather all of that energy that you pulled up from below. And then we just lower the hands down as we ground the back side of the body. And we'll do that 1 more time. Inhaling. Gathering. And then lower down, right down the center channel. And then when the hands come all the way down, we'll bring our hands together in prayer at the heart. I haven't been oming because it feels a little weird to me. I mean, I'm still getting used to this type of interaction. Be switching to Zoom at some point next week, and we'll be able to om together. But I'm going to om today, and you're welcome to join me wherever you are. So let's all exhale together. And inhale. And then just sitting for a moment with the residual effects of the vibration of the om, either my om or if you joined. And then you can release your hands. If you're sitting on something, let's move it off to the side. And let's come down into a child's pose to start. So go ahead, let's have the knees nice and wide today. Tops of the feet on the floor. Sit back on your heels, lower the forehead down. Have your forehead resting on your mat or on your fists or on your hands or on a block. And you guys stay in your child's pose, just settle in. I'm just going to check and make sure that. Good. Everything looks good. No news is good news, as they say. So settling in, breathing into the pelvis and breathing into the back area. Just creating some space around the kidneys. So imagine you're sending the breath in that part of the back between the low back ribs and the top of the pelvis. Creating space. And then as you're ready, you're going to bring the hands forward. Let's grip the mat with the fingertips and pull your sitting bones back towards your heels, lengthening the spine. And lengthen out through the top of the head as well. So you're pulling back with the pelvis. You're pushing towards the hands with the top of the head. You're pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and you're gripping the mat with the fingertips. So a lot going on here in this modified child's pose. And then go ahead and release that effort. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. Press your left hand into the floor and pull your left sitting bone down towards your left heel. Sending the breath into the left side of the rib cage, creating space on the left side into the armpit area. And then let's walk the hands all the way through center. We'll come over to the other side. Press the right hand into the floor. Pull the right sitting bone down towards the right heel, creating space in the right side of the rib cage. And then we'll make our way back to center. And we'll come on to all fours. So adjust the knees so that the knees are now right underneath the hips. The wrists are going to be underneath the shoulders, and then spread the fingers evenly. Actively press the hands into the mat. Actively press the toes and the knees into the mat. And let's move into a few rounds of cat-cow. On the inhale, let's round the back this time. So rounding the back, a little different. On the inhale, you're going to drop the belly and bring your heart forward. Inhale, round your spine, release your head. And exhale, release the belly, heart comes forward. On the inhale, round. And then exhale. And then one more time. And exhale. Let's bring the knees a little closer together. Extend the left leg behind you. Flex the left toes. See if you can align the foot with the hip to the best of your ability. If you're going on, extend the right arm forward, reaching through the fingertips, reaching through the heel. For 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hand, lower the knee, and just shift the hips from side to side. And then come back to center. Let's switch over to the other side. So it is the right side for me, probably is for you. We're going to flex the toes, adjust that foot so it's in line with the hip. See if you can prevent that left hip from collapsing and the right hip from hiking up. So see if you can find that center. Left arm comes forward, reaching through the fingertips, reaching through the heel. For 3, 2, and 1. We'll lower the hand, lower the knee. Let's adjust the knees so they're back to hips distance apart. Go ahead and tuck all 10 toes. We'll inhale, drop the belly, bring the heart forward. On the exhale, round your back and then send the hips back. And let's stay in downward dog for a few moments here. So pedaling out your dog. And as the schedule adjusts, I normally don't do standing postures in core release and restore. But as we change the times for some of the classes, we'll be bringing a little more standing in just because it's appropriate given the time of day that my classes will be. And we'll go ahead and lower the knees back down. And let's go ahead and make our way onto our back. So I'm going to take a blanket because I like having a blanket underneath my back when we are on our backs for as long as we often are here. So if you wanted to put a blanket on your mat, now would be a time to do that. Or maybe your blanket's already there. And then have a block handy. If you don't have a block, no worries. Just don't use it. But if you happen to have a block or a book, you could do this with a pillow, anything, or a ball, anything that's going to create resistance in the legs when we get to that part, which we will in a little bit. So let's go ahead and adjust the knees and the feet so they're hips distance apart. And for our purposes today, we'll bring the arms in a cactus if you can. Now, if the shoulders don't rest on the floor in cactus, arms straight out to the side or down by your side. And then with the arms in cactus, actively press the arms into the floor. So as I do that, maybe you see my heart lift up a little bit as the blades want to come together here. And we're activating the muscles around the shoulder blades and also bringing awareness to that part of the back where we have a little more nervous system responders. And we want to keep the body alive so it's very intelligent with how it reacts. If the body is not alive, meaning the tissues are kind of stagnant, or I don't want to say dead, but stagnant, meaning they don't have a lot of energy or circulation flowing there, they're not going to be as responsive because we just can't feel it. So we want to create awareness. And one way to do that is to send energy and circulation there. Keep pressing if you've stopped. And that's going to awaken those tissues. And then soften that effort. And then just for a moment, sit with the residual effects. So there wasn't a lot of action there as far as movement, but there was a lot of action as far as muscular energy that we were using. And then let's walk the feet out to the side edges of the mat. We'll all inhale together. On the exhale, press your feet into the floor. Keep them where they are. So don't slide them or try not to slide them along the mat. Lower the legs over to the right and then turn your gaze to the left. Press into the big toe side of your left foot and actively press into your left arm once again. So it looks like we're just kind of lying here, but there's a lot of action going on. On the inhale, everything comes back to center. Exhale, lower your legs to the left. Gaze goes to the right. This time we press into the big toe side of the right foot. Actively press into your right arm. And then do that a few times going from side to side where you inhale to center. Keep it more like a flow now. Exhale, legs go one way, gaze goes the other way. Action goes in the opposite arm or the same direction the gaze is facing. So moving with your breath, take your time. Nicely done. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And when you come back up to center, whenever that is for you, let's hug the knees in towards the shoulders. Do a little rocking from side to side, just releasing the back a little, neutralizing the spine, a little integration. And then release that effort. And let's have the legs go long. We'll start with the feet, hips distance apart. Lift your heart up. Make sure that those shoulders are away from the ears and the blades are coming a little bit together on the back. And then bring the leg out to the right, maybe 3 inches. And then just lift the right leg up. We're going to hold here. And you might even feel a little bit of tremoring, a little bit of like kind of a little flutter release pulsation. If we hold it here long enough, the leg will likely begin to tremor because it becomes a little bit of a challenge. The leg's heavy. The psoas muscles really working here. We're just awakening it. And then go ahead and lower that foot down and just make sure it's in line with the hip. We're going to go to the other side. So lifting the left foot up. Say good afternoon to your psoas muscle. And notice what sensations arise here. Notice what action it takes to hold the leg up. So it's likely the core is engaged, your back muscles engaged. If this is hard on your back, then come down sooner if you need to. Otherwise, we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then lower your foot. Let's bend both knees once again. Have the knees and feet hips distance apart. Arms can be by your side. And we'll do some spinal undulation here on our back, which is basically like a cat-cow on your back. So on the inhale, press into the balls of your feet. See how my heart lifts up. I'm creating space under my back so I can literally stick my hand underneath my back. On the exhale, press into your heels and flatten the spine. Pelvis is going to tilt up, tailbone's going to tilt up. On the inhale, press into the balls of the feet and lift the heart. My chin actually comes down towards the collarbone here. Yeah, and exhaling, chin releases and the back flattens. Now just notice the movement of your neck. It may not move as dramatically as mine. Everyone, I find, when I teach this or do this in class, it's really interesting. For some people, their necks don't move at all. Now, if you feel a little pinching in the back, like if you have any disc issues, then I'm going to suggest you engage the core through both movements, which means the heart opener, when the heart lifts up, you might not be able to make it as big of a move. And I say that because I can feel it a little bit today, a little bit of a pinch in my low back. So I have a bit of a compromised low back, but I'm usually pretty ahead of it. So when I feel that, I'm like, aha, today's one of those days where it needs a little more support. It's not like that every day. And then we come back to neutral. Make sure that the knees and feet are hips distance apart. On the inhale, extend the left leg long. Bring the right arm above your head. And then exhale, return hand and foot. We'll switch sides. Inhale, we extend. Right leg in, left arm this time. And then we just alternate sides. Now, as we extend the leg, we're keeping it just lifted above the floor. We're not landing it on the floor. This is actually a nice support of the back. And when we have a strong core, where the integrity of our core is in place, that's going to support the back. And then if we have a strong back, that's going to complement the core. They go hand in hand. And if you ever want to see a fully integrated core and back where they're working in harmony, watch a baby who's learning to roll over and learning to move, and their core is so strong, so much stronger than the rest of their body. They're like little balls of core work, and the way they can move and the way their psoas moves and the body just works in harmony is really beautiful to see. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And when you come back to center, whenever that is for you, let's just pause for a moment. We'll inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and inhale. And exhale. And then one more time, inhale. And exhale. So as you're ready, let's bring the soles of the feet together, have the knees wide. We're going to interlace the hands behind our head, and we're going to do another version of spinal undulation, this time using the arms and the legs. So on the inhale, lift your heart up. On the exhale, close the knees together and then bring the elbows towards each other. On the inhale, we open the knees and elbows like butterfly wings opening. Exhale, we close and come into like a little crunch here. Inhale, open everything. And then exhale, we crunch. Let's do a couple more, moving with your breath, stopping if you need to, always your choice. And we'll be here for 5. Make sure you don't pull on your neck as you come into your cruncher. Use the belly to pull you up. 3. I think I skipped 4, 2. I can count to 5. And 1. And then when you come down, leave the legs where they are. Release the arms by your side. And then from here, we're going to stay in this butterfly. Now, often we'll start with the knees up, but for today, we're going to start in this butterfly. And you're going to start on the right side, and you're slowly, with some isometric intention, you're going to imagine there's some resistance on the inside of the thigh, and you're going to pull that right knee up to center. Now, with the left leg out to the side, you might have a little bit of different effort in the left leg than we typically do. So notice that. And then you'll have that isometric resistance as you push the leg out to the side. Now stay on the right side where you're resisting. Either you can intentionally resist with your hand. Sometimes that can be useful. And you're coming in and out. And you might even feel a little like jerking up or pulsation as the body, it's just working a little bit. And it's also, that's a little bit of a release. Notice the psoas muscles, which are deep in the abdomen, You might begin to feel them tremoring a little bit as we do it, because it's a little more work having the opposite leg out to the side. And then do this maybe one more time. Now, if you ever feel cramping in the hip or you need to stop for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel right, honor that. Please always honor that. And then this time we'll stop as the leg goes out to the side. And then we'll move over to the left side. So resisting as you pull the leg up. Now notice if this side is different, and then push away. My left side is very different than my right side today. And then resisting. It's much more, this side's weaker in general, but today in particular, it's feeling a little more compromised. So that's good information for me. Maybe I won't do as many on the side because we don't want to over fatigue the psoas. We just want to get it a little bit fatigued so it's ready to shake. Good. And then one more. And then when you finish coming out to the side, we'll extend both legs long just to give the hip flexors a moment here. Arms by your side. You can kind of windshield wiper the feet from side to side just to allow for a little integration. And then notice if your shoulders shifted up. Mine just did, so I released them back down. And when I'm teaching, I'm not always practicing, not in core release and always walking around. So it's interesting. I can give different cues when I'm experiencing things in my body. So it's kind of, it's been fun for me to feel that from a teaching and / demonstrating standpoint. Let's inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And inhale, exhale, and then one more time, inhale and exhale. So now would be the time to grab your block and place the block between the thighs. So place the block between the thighs and you're going to squeeze the block. So if you don't have the block between your thighs, and just engage the muscles or squeeze the glutes, keeping the hips down to start. And we're just working the legs a little bit. So you can do this without the block by pressing into the feet and engaging the glutes. It's almost a lifting of the core and the pelvic floor. It works a little better if you have a reference point with a block. But you can certainly do this without. So much can be done with just body weight and isometric and tension. Good. And then go ahead and finish here. Have your hands on the floor with the palms facing down. On the inhale, keeping the block where it is, you're going to lift the hips up and squeeze the glutes at the top. Exhale, lower all the way down, keeping the glutes engaged. We're going to go a little slower today than we typically do. On the inhale, lift, engage the glutes right away. You could even take your thumbs or fingers to make sure they're engaging. Exhale, you're going to lower back down. And then going like in slow motion. So lifting, squeezing the whole way, and then exhale, lower. Like imagine you're moving the hips through honey, like you're sitting in a bowl of honey. I've never done that. I wonder what that would be like, moving through honey or molasses. And then do a couple more if you can. If you feel like you've had enough, you're going to stop. Okay? But you can't really, in my opinion, the glutes are super important, because when the glutes sleep, then we lose the integrity in our back. And for women, it's more of a common where the glutes just stop firing. So sometimes you have to lift and then just kind of poke at them to make sure they're engaging, because sometimes they're not engaging. We have to reawaken them. So reawaken your glutes. We'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll keep the block right where it is. We're going to do another movement with the legs. We're going to lift the knees up so the knees are stacked above the hips, and then extend the legs up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, you're going to bend the knees lower and tap the feet. Now, if you find that lowering the feet, that compromises your back, you'll slide the hands underneath the pelvis, and that'll protect your back. On the inhale, knees come up, legs extend. Exhale, we lower and tap. And now you're just moving with your breath. So this is great for working on the legs and getting into the core as well. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll release the block and place the block between the calves. Make sure that you can hold the block tightly. If you don't feel like you can hold it safely, then put it back between the thighs or move it off to the side. The knees lift above the hips. Extend the feet up. You're going to bend the knees lower and tap. Inhale, knees come up, we extend. Exhale, we lower and tap. And then moving with your breath. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then when they lower this last time, you can take that block off to the side. Let's go ahead and bring the arms out to the side and just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Get a little integration into the legs. And then come back to center. Let's hug the knees in towards the shoulders, rocking from side to side. And then staying here or grabbing the outside of the feet and coming in a happy baby. So happy baby, we can grab the feet, we can grab the backs of the thighs, you can grab the calves or the ankles. If you're here and you can't grab the feet, I would suggest hugging the knees or grabbing the thighs, because then you're kind of fighting it. And happy baby is one of those things that you want to gradually get to the point where you can grab your feet fairly comfortably. You don't want to be fighting these postures. It creates a lot of tension in the body. So moving to a place that's appropriate for your body today, which may be different than how your body was yesterday. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. And let's lower the feet down and come onto your side and extend the bottom arm. So on my left side, so my left arm's above my head on the floor, and the legs are long, and I'm going to flex my feet. I'm just using my right hand to support me. And we're going to lift the right leg up, and then we're slowly going to lower. So a little bit of balance, a little bit of work, and lifting and lowering. So leg is engaged. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come onto your belly and just shift the hips from side to side. And then we're going to come onto the other side. So extend the right arm. In this case, it's my right arm coming onto the right side, flexing the legs and then lifting and lowering and lift and lower. And then moving with your breath. On the inhale, we lift. Exhale, we lower. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll come onto our belly. You can stack the hands and shift the hips from side to side. And then let's bend the knees and flex the feet and do a little windshield wipering of the knees from side to side. And then come back to center and have the feet flexed, have the knees bent with the feet stacked above the knees. And you're going to lift the right leg up and lower, and then left leg and lower. And then just alternate sides where you're lifting on the inhale and lowering on the exhale. So good back support here. Also working the psoas muscles a little bit. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lower the feet down. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Let's come up and back into a child's pose. Knees go nice and wide. Sit back on your heels. And then lowering down once again. Sending the breath into the pelvis. And softening the shoulders. And then just bring your awareness to the hip flexors where the psoas live. And just noticing any sensations that arise there. So, I think we worked the legs pretty good and got into the hips. I can feel a little bit of a vibration already. Some of you might be experiencing the same. Some of you experience shakers. Some of you maybe not so much. And then let's make our way up to a seat. And we'll do just one more seated posture before we move on to our back for the tremoring. So soles of the feet come together. And let's start with the hands behind us. Lengthening the spine. You can open the feet. Some of us will stay here. So if you let go of this, if you let go of the resistance with the hands and you collapse, you probably should stay here. If you feel like you can keep that upright seat, hold on to the shins and resist, pull the hands into the outside of the shins, lift out through the top of the head, shoulders away from the ears. And then just resisting, working the legs a little bit more. And we'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's hug the knees together and then hug the knees in. Press your feet and your sitting bones into your mat and lift out through the top of your head. And then release that effort. And we are going to fold our blanket in half. So go ahead and fold the blanket in half. And then come onto your back, lying on the blanket. We'll come into a Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. And just pause on your back for a moment. And Supta Baddha Konasana, let's inhale through the nose. And exhale. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. And with the arms by your side, we're going to lift the hips up. So we're transitioning now to the neurogenic tremor part of the class. So you might feel a bouncing, a rocking, a shaking. You can see how my body is responding. If you can't lift the hips in this way, because it's hard on the back with the feet together, just roll the bottoms of the feet onto the floor. Keep the knees wider than the feet. Keep the feet close together and then lift into more like a bridge. And even with this, you can see my body is ready. So for some of you that are newer to the practice, the tremors don't come on as easily sometimes like they are for me. I've been doing this for a long time. So either soles of the feet together or bottoms of the feet on the floor. And if you feel like you need to lower the hips down because it's just becoming fatiguing, you can do that. Otherwise, you can lift the hips a little higher. Always your choice. And you guys keep the hips up. I'm going to lower mine down just so I can talk and not be out of breath here. Sometimes lifting and talking is a little bit tricky. So keeping the hips lifted. And let's inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And then 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. So let's go ahead and lower the hips back down. And if you're able to have the soles of the feet together and the knees as wide as they can go, let's go ahead and start there. And if you can, I'll show you in a moment how you would do it a different way. Arms are by your side. Everything is neutral other than the legs. And just close the legs a couple of inches. Keep the feet together. Sometimes people ask me, should I press the feet together? And I'd say it depends. It depends. Sometimes it's okay to have the feet a little more relaxed and we're just working the legs. Sometimes people like the support of the feet pressing into each other. And then you might feel the legs beginning to shake. Now, if you can't have the soles of the feet together and close the knees, you would start with the bottoms of the feet on the floor like we had earlier, and then you would begin to open the knees a little bit. So either one of those. Otherwise, soles of the feet are together and knees start making their way towards each other. And if you're able to have the soles of the feet together, I think until you're doing the practice for a while, that's best. It is kind of the pivotal posture that allows the tremors to really engage easier than with the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Now, after you've been doing this for a while, like I have, once my legs start going, I prefer to have the bottoms of the feet on the floor. It's just easier and I can just release without engaging any muscular energy. When the legs are like this, we're engaging muscular energy to hold them in place. And over time, we want to, just allow the legs to relax, basically move into a constructive pose. And then that release just happens. So you can close the knees a little bit more. And I'm going to put the bottoms of my feet on the floor because I know my body and my legs prefer this. And it's just more of a relaxed release for me. Now, if you feel like you want to take a break, you'll just straighten your legs. And then you see how for me, the tremors just stop right away. I can still feel the energy moving, but they're pretty much stopped externally. And then if you wanted to resume, you just come back to where you left off, and then they'll usually kick in. You might have to put the soles of the feet together for them to kick in. And the tremors, they're often will have a pattern, and then, the tremors will stop, and there could be a rocking from side to side. That's a little integration that's occurring. Like if we have all this tension and then the body relaxes that tension, what happens to the slack? So the body has to integrate and kind of shift things around a little bit. Sometimes there's a pause and the body's just thinking through its own intelligence where the tremors need to go next, because they often will stay in the legs. I'd say probably 90% of the time. And then 10% of the time they'll go to other parts. I know there's some people who are on this call where they go into their hands or they go into their head. Sometimes the tremors will go up the spine, out the shoulders, and into the hands, and you don't feel the shaking, but you can feel the tinkling of the energy. So we're going to be here for probably a couple more minutes or so. So you can, again, be done to straighten your legs and stop the tremors anytime, or you can come into your final rest by either straightening your legs or coming onto your side. Otherwise, we'll be here for a little bit. So you guys go ahead and stay tremoring. I'm going to actually come out of them, and I'm going to sit up so I can be more present with you and see if there's anything else I can think of that might be useful to share with you regarding the tremors, especially if there are some of you that are newer to the practice. This is like just basically a very dynamic energetic discharge where the energy's moving very rapidly and releasing very quickly. And, especially now there's a lot of collective stress and anxiety and concern going on, and not just locally, but nationally and then worldwide. So we have all of that collective stress that whether we realize it or not, we are experiencing every day. And so this, to me, is one of the best practices to keep that energy flowing and keep the stressors from staying rooted in the body. And the quicker you release stress from a particular experience, the less likely it is to root. I don't think I can say this enough, but it's less likely to root. And the longer we hold stress in our body without releasing it. So like, I referenced a car accident I had in November. The more we hold on to that, the harder it is to release it. So we want to release stress as soon as we can, as soon as it's comfortable. If we were in an accident or something, we want to allow the body to physically heal so it's safe to do so before we begin releasing. But as soon as it's safe to do so, it's a great way to just get that energy out before it takes hold and takes root. And then that can cause some dysregulation in the nervous system. That will just take a little bit longer to get things back on track. Let's inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And the breathing helps the energy flow. Let's do that again. Inhale and exhale. And then one more time, inhale and exhale. And then just, maybe just appreciating whatever it is that your body is now discharging, whatever role it played in your body's intelligence, the need or what your body thought it needed to hold on to, just allowing that to release, letting it go with maybe a little gratitude for whatever purpose it served. And then maybe one more minute. You can always stop if you need to, just a little bit longer, Let's get it all out today, or get a lot of it out today. Another question that people ask, is, do I ever stop tremoring? Is there ever a time where there's nothing left? And that hasn't been my experience, because throughout our day, just like the situation we're encountering now, there will always be times of stress or periods of stress. That will always be the case as long as we're in these bodies. So that means that we always have something that we could benefit from releasing. And then as you're ready, you're going to make your way out of the tremor. So go ahead and extend your legs long. And once the legs are long, you can circle the feet and ankles and circle the hands. And then when you're ready, just make your way into your final rest. So you can come into a traditional Shavasana with the legs extended long, or you can come into a side lying position using your arm as a pillow. Either one of those would be supportive to what we just did, what we just experienced. And then once you're in your final rest, finding whatever support you need that you have available to you, just letting the body get really heavy and just allowing whatever is continuing to be released, because the release is still happening. Just, allowing that to happen. You might feel an intense tingling through the body. That's pretty common. Like an electrical current, some type of strong sensation that might demonstrate that energy's flowing. And then just noticing what arises here. There can be lots of things that arise here. Sometimes people feel a little depleted. Sometimes people feel a little sense of relief. Or a sense of calmness. So just noticing, and it can be really subtle. So just tap into what you're experiencing at this moment and just notice. And then I'll just let you rest here quietly for a moment or two. And do let yourself rest. I know it's tempting when we're live to just be done and move on, but give yourself a moment here. Let the body settle down. You deserve it. You deserve a couple more minutes here. So dinner can wait. Whatever you were going to be doing can wait a couple more minutes. And then continuing to soften on the exhale. Allowing the body to come back in a rhythm. And even if the stress that we just released, even if it's just temporary and it comes back fairly quickly, just allowing the systems in the body a bit of a breather so they don't have to work so hard. And then begin to lengthen your breath. Invite movement back into your body. So wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Circle the wrists and ankles. And if you're on your side, stay where you are. If you're on your back, bend your knees, hug your knees in towards your shoulders. Raise one arm above your head. Roll onto your side, and we'll all check in here on our side. together one more time. Check in with the breath, check in with the heart. And then when you're ready, take your time and make your way up to a seat as you're ready. Take your time. And we'll bring our arms out to the sides with the palms facing up. As you inhale, bring your arms out and up. Let your palms touch above your head. As you exhale, lower your hands in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra, the mudra of gratitude. We'll close the practice today with one round of Om, joining me if you wish. Otherwise, feel free to listen. We'll all exhale together. And inhale. And we'll bow down towards our heart with gratitude for the practice and with gratitude for our bodies and all of the things we get to do in these bodies. And may any merits gained from our practice today benefit ourselves and all beings everywhere. Thank you all so much for showing up. I hope that these practices are useful. I really enjoy teaching to all of you in this way. So hopefully we'll be able to see each other soon. We're moving the classes to Zoom in the next week, so we'll have more opportunity to do more of a personal exchange. So thanks so much for showing up. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great rest of your night. And I'll be here Friday at 6 teaching restorative. So come see me, okay? Otherwise, take care of yourself till I see you again.